Houston, we have a problem.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Help me help you.
You are a toy!
My team is dead.
There's no crying in baseball!
Relax. This pod is making you aggressive.
Wilson!
You complete me.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of We Bought a Mic, a podcast about movies, television, music, and showing me the money.
Mm-hmm.
Show me the money.
Mm-hmm. And loving.
Say it. Who do you love?
And
Who do you love?
I love Jerry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love him. He's right here with us,
Mhm.
sitting at the table. My name's Ernest.
My name's Sanjay.
And I'm Drew. And yeah, we are. In fact,
I didn't even want to do a bit or anything right now. We're talking about banger of a movie.
Yeah, I'm Jerry
And
McGuire.
I don't want to mock him. I don't want to mock him while he's just sitting here with us.
I know. It's hard
Jerry.
to do. It's hard to do a Tom Cruise because you just end up doing Ben Stiller's Tom Cruise, you know, where he's like, wow.
The amount of teeth laughter that's happening in this movie specifically,
Mhm.
and I think how well received this was. Tom was like, "Oh, cool! I can just laugh like that in every movie moving forward now."
On today's episode, it's finally here. Jerry Maguire,
Woo!
1996, starring Tom Cruise. Happy birthday, Tom. He is 62 today.
Oh
Wow.
Born on
Wow.
the 3rd of July.
Wow.
man, do you think that like he tried to fudge his birthday, and that's actually how he got with Oliver Stone?
He was like, come on, man. I'm right there.
I was like,
So
it was a
close.
nice birth.
I hope you're celebrating with your coconut cake,
Mhm.
Tom, and your children who definitely love you and want to hang out with you on your birthday.
Whose kids like them more, Tom Cruise's or Brad Pitt's?
Oof, that's tough.
Probably Cruise,
No one wins
right?
there.
Yeah, it's got to be Cruise. Brad Pitt.
I don't think Cruise ever like physically assaulted his kids.
Yeah.
So
And that's one thing that he will stand to defend.
yeah.
If
Do you want
you're
to, Tom?
if
No.
you're not watching on the YouTube, we have a Tom Cruise cardboard cutout sitting at the table with us. He's on the phone,
It's also-
making very important.
It's a Jerry Maguire cutout, really.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not just Tommy.
It's a Jerry. Yeah.
It's a Karak. It's a full character.
He's beautiful. This is I can't believe.
Yeah. He's life size, 6'7", just like the real Tom.
Mhm. Genuinely, still probably the most thoughtful present anyone's ever got me.
Yeah. Shout out to Annabelle.
Yeah. Thoughtful in that. I mean, I sent her the link to it, but I
Right.
didn't think she was going
So-
to get it.
Sometimes when I'm very bored, I do try to find the gold of Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I had a Woody action figure, not action figure. It's like a
Just a
a
classic doll.
Yeah, bookmarked. And it wasn't that expensive. It was like $80.
Oh. If
I
it's like
should've gotten
one of
it.
the old school ones, that's actually that's something that's pretty good. I love Facebook Marketplace. It's like a pastime of mine, is just browsing it. My favorite thing is whenever you just see the people who are posting to Facebook Marketplace. Like there'll be a person who's just like 6 foot tall mirror, and to show it's just like them sitting on a
Mhm.
toilet and having the mirror reflected directly at
Yeah.
them.
Shout out to my my sister Lindsay. She started years ago an Instagram account called Mirrors of Marketplace.
Oh, wow.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I think it's
This is
long
incredible.
abandoned. But yeah, it's literally just pictures of people selling mirrors, and their picture they're in the mirror.
Yeah.
There
You
was
got to
a-
get the angle.
Every time I see a good one, I send it to her.
There was one that I saw, like eventually it it actually like trended on Twitter and some like just Facebook Marketplace Twitter account. But it was something that I just saw naturally because it was from our own greater Orlando area, where it was somebody selling a wheelchair. And in the wheelchair was a sex doll. To showcase, like, I guess the dimensions
Not
of
for
the
sale.
wheelchair.
Yeah, and also
it
like
said specifically in the thing, don't ask about the doll.
Do not.
It's just
For
the wheelchair
dimensions
that's for
only.
sale.
yeah, it's like don't, and also like you don't have to worry about, it's like saying pet free household. Like don't worry, like real flesh free wheelchair. This has only touched pristine porcelain skin of my beauty.
So we're talking about Jerry Maguire, written and directed by Cameron Crowe. It's part of our series on the films of Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks. It's called Tom v. Tom, A Tale of Two Toms.
Cameron Crowe, of course.
Cruisemas with the Hanks.
The man who gave us
We Bought a Zoo.
our
Who
name.
would give us, because this is 1996.
Yeah.
A long way from 2011.
He's like my passion project. I have to make Jerry Maguire so I can make my passion project.
Yeah.
We Bought a Zoo.
This was even before Almost Famous,
Yeah.
which I think is still
that is what
peak.
he leverages Jerry Maguire into making Almost Famous, because that's like his life story that he had been trying to make his whole career.
Yeah.
But this is, I mean, Almost Famous is probably, I don't know if we're on like cultural apex if it is that or this, but like Jerry Maguire, I mean, shit, this is like
he
one
wins
of the best movies of the 90s.
He wins the Oscar for Almost Famous for Best Original Screenplay.
Right.
This gets nominated for Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay, and Cuba winning Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah. Do you want to do the Oscar thing now about this? How this is like
should have won.
truly, well, this is truly like one of the great Oscar travesties of the last like 30 years. It's insane. I'm
More than
reading,
Social Network and King's Speech.
well, it's kind of funny because King's Speech beating Social Network is kind of like in conversation with this in a way. I'm currently reading, this is a side tangent, the book Oscar Wars. And I just got
do we
through
have
the chapter
like an applause thing
that I'm reading the
Hunter's
book.
reading a book.
Listen, I'm in my
No.
book reading girl summer. I'm picking up text hardback hardcover.
You're reading a hardback?
I'm reading a hardback. Yeah, there we go.
Reading.
No, but I just got to the 90s chapter, and it's specifically focused on the debacle that happens a few years later with Shakespeare in Love beating Saving Private Ryan. But it really starts here with fucking The English Patient winning Best Picture
You hate
right
to
now.
see it.
And who's behind The English Patient? Good old Harvey Dubs. And yeah, this was kind of known as the year of the indies. If you look at the list of Best Picture nominees this year, it is English Patient, which wins, Fargo, banger, but
that
another
would have
indie.
been a good win too.
Yep. Shine and Secrets and Lies.
No clue what that is.
Yeah. So English Patient wins Best Picture. Jerry Maguire gets shut out there. And then Cruise loses to Jeffrey Rush in Shine.
Tough.
How often are you guys just like at the bar, like 4 beers deep, and you're like, fellas, let's talk about Shine? How many times are you just busting like Shine quotes?
We
at
love
each other?
Jeffrey Rush, great actor. What the fuck is Shine?
It's like, isn't it a movie about like a pianist who's like losing his mind and has to get like admitted
You tell
somewhere?
me.
I don't know.
I
I have
don't
not
fucking
seen the
know.
film
That's
Shine.
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Is that okay? That's what I thought that was about. Yeah, no, it's criminal. Cuba wins, and we'll talk about Cuba plenty because he is incredible. It is like the best possible casting that you could have in this role. Can't picture anybody else there.
Is it Cuba or
But-
Cuba? Can we get to the
Take
bottom
your-
of this?
Take your pick.
Cuba.
I don't want to see. I don't want to.
Isn't there a thing where they say like a YouTuber that
Yeah.
uploads when they say their own names?
Oh,
Oh, is that a thing? Is that a thing that exists?
hold on. Let's. It's an ad. Hold on.
Is this the best Tom Cruise performance that we will see in the entire series? Is the question.
Cuba.
It is Cuba,
Cuba.
just like the country.
This is probably the most Tom Cruise
This.
I know you're partial to Born on the 4th of July.
so far.
Yeah.
So far. But looking ahead,
I was gonna say we still got some bangers.
looking at films such as Eyes Wide Shut.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that's
Minority Report.
This is the most dynamic that you'll ever see Tom Cruise. I think. Like this is him giving you a wide range of shit.
I think that this might be. I mean, I do think that it's right there with like Ethan Hunt, Pete Maverick Mitchell for like most iconic performances. I think that this is like probably the most irreplaceably Tom performance. When we get to like who could replace him, it's kind of like we had with Forrest or with Tom Hanks in some of these movies where it's like actually you couldn't. There is no recasting
Well,
of Cruise.
you know, the comparison to Forrest Gump is interesting because obviously like that is a singular kind of piece of acting where you know, we talked about in that episode, you see Forrest Gump, right? You're not thinking Hanks, you're thinking Gump.
Mhm.
I think there's a similar thing here in this movie where I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking Jerry.
Yeah,
I'm looking at Jerry, right?
that's Jerry.
And it's not a transformative thing where he's really like doing a voice or putting on a bunch of makeup or anything like that. The types of things that wins you Oscars, you know. Obviously, he didn't win, but I think it is in that similar space of being able to sell yourself to be sold the idea of a full transformation without all these added gimmicks.
Mm-hmm. I think that this is about as good as we're going to see. I'm really partial to his performance in Rain Man.
Similar character to this. It's kind of, he's not like sleaze bag, but he's almost like sleaze adjacent, a little bit of an asshole, self-centered.
Yeah, and he's like a reformed sleazebag in this movie. Like he's a guy who's trying not to be a sleazebag. He's like full on in Rain Man, like a horrible person for most of it. Like he's like a terrible guy. But yeah, there's a lot of similarity. There's a similarity in vibe, like how they dress, how they look. But this gives him a lot more leeway to sort of show range in performance, show some emotion. We get a good love story between him and Cuba. We get a good love story between him and little Jonathan Lipnicki.
And Renée.
We get a decent love story between him and Renee.
It is funny how much more chemistry he has with Lipnicki than he does with Renée Zellweger. It's not his fault. It's because
Lipnicki
Ray and Jerry have something special. He has like the dream. I'm not the stepdad. I'm the dad who stepped up to him.
Well, Lipnicki's cooking in this movie.
He is
He's so good.
I think it's my favorite kid performance I've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah.
Every time he's on screen, you're absolutely charmed. You're smiling.
I want to squeeze his little
you're like, look at that little guy. Everything he says is very funny. And he is absolutely vibing with Tom Cruise in all their scenes together. They did a lot of improvising, especially like in the drunk scene, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is one of the best scenes in the entire movie. Also, I think that the saying facts at each other in the car was at least partially improvised. The human head weighs 8 pounds kind of thing. And then going back and forth, he says things. He's like, well, my neighbor has a turtle. I can't compete with that.
He's so cool.
Yeah. He's so cute. He's like the cutest little kid imaginable.
So I rewatched this movie. I watched it for the first time, I think 2 years ago. Yeah, maybe last year. Sometime within the last couple of years, I watched it for the first time. So I think this was kind of my big rewatch of Jerry Maguire. And the opening, maybe everything before Jerry gets fired felt a little bit like I was doubting the greatness of the movie.
Well, it's moving very quickly. It
moves quickly.
It starts with like a lot of exposition and
narration.
And him basically saying, you basically just sort of had to take his word for it, of him being like, yeah, I was this guy and you're not going to see any of that. Now I'm changing.
You have the one scene of him in the hospital with like the hockey player getting like his 4th concussion in a year. And he's like, you can see like the panic in his eyes of like, if I'm playing 65% of my games, I'm not going to get my bonus and everything else.
Yeah.
And Tom like can't be fucking bothered. And then the kid just comes around and just says like, fuck you.
Yeah. Little baby Drake Bell. I kind of relate.
There you go. Okay.
That is Baby Drake.
That's Baby
kind of unrecognizable.
Yeah, absolutely. He has so much life in his eyes. No, come on.
Jesus Christ.
Let's cut that.
I keep that in.
I have a different soundboard.
Yeah, what was that? Ooh, okay.
Oh, is this like the stock soundboard that comes with it? Okay. I don't know what the fuck
that sounds like a like a bite that would play on Baggage with Jerry Springer.
Does.
Hey,
now we're going to the hot couch.
This segment is brought to you by Intellius Jake Check, so you can look up before you hook up.
Wow, it's very nice.
Okay.
So my first time watching Jerry Maguire was a few years ago, probably as well, and it really quickly became one of my favorite movies ever. I don't know exactly when it did, but I just find myself watching it like once a month.
It's insanely watchable.
Yeah, it is so easy to watch.
It goes down smooth.
It's such a pleasure. I think a big part of it is the synergy between cast and like the characters and who was cast to play the parts. I think going down the line, it just couldn't be much better than it is. Because like you said, we're getting Cruise in a role that only Cruise could play it, but like you're also like you're looking at him and you're like, that's Jerry though, which is a really special thing to get. Like you said, it is kind of similar to Forrest Gump in that way. Then you get Renee like pre all of her little what are the English movies that she's in? You know, where she's playing like
Renee?
Yes, she starred in like the girlies are going crazy.
Bridget Jones?
Yeah.
Bridget Jones' Diary?
Yeah, but pre all those
she plays an English woman?
Yeah, I think.
Oh.
I don't know.
Hugh Grant is
She played
English,
Bridget
and he's
Jones?
in that movie.
Oh shit.
She does play Bridget.
Everyone's I mean, has there ever been an American named Bridget?
Bridget Jones.
Yeah, come on.
Bridget. Did you know there's a sequel to Bridget Jones' Diary called Bridget Jones' Baby that came out in 2016?
Oh,
Because I didn't know that until
Yikes.
right now.
So anyway, so pre all that, she is sort of, you know, she's giving like a little bit of a Meg Ryan thing here, you know, a bit of like, I'm so aloof and in love, doing a good job with it. And then I think
down bad.
And then I think really arguably the most important piece of the movie is Cuba.
Yeah.
You know, they ran down, you know, I've run down the line of people that they like wanted to cast in this role and like would make sense. Like Jamie Foxx I had written down as like who would make sense in the role. And they did apparently, I think he may have turned it down or something happened, but they looked at him obviously because like he would destroy this part as like a hot
he auditioned and didn't get it.
And then he went on to play a similar part in Any Given Sunday.
Yeah.
But Cuba is absolutely destroying this fucking movie. Every shot he's in, he's just eating everyone else alive.
It's
so
also-
he gets the nom, the Oscar nom, the moment you were introduced to his character, right?
That first call, it's that scene. I mean, and again, we're at like the 20-minute mark of the movie. That's when you're getting show me the money. Like it is so early on. It is just like, it's such pitch perfect casting too. If you are like a follower of the NFL and like at least the personalities that are in it, that like wide receivers are always known as head cases of like anybody else. They are like the quote unquote divas of the team that are just like always kind of doing like kind of the most extroverted, you could say, for lack of a better term. And that is what Cuba, the energy that he is bringing to this role is like, you can see the passion in everything that he does, whether that's home, whether that's playing football, whether that's getting people to show him the money, whatever it is, it's so good. His command of the screen and of the phone call in that first sequence, it's a thing where it's like, no, Jerry, I don't give a fuck about Cushman. Stay with this guy right here. This guy has the
In
goods.
Rod we trust.
In Rod we trust.
Yeah, he fucking owns. I think it helps his character a lot. That we didn't, or you know, listen, we're young. We were barely alive back then, but that America didn't have much of a history with Cuba. I think that matters because he's playing a guy that like is an awesome football player, but no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah.
If it's Jamie Foxx, you're like, this is T.O. Like, why aren't y'all paying him?
Yeah.
Like, shit. But Cuba Gooding is like short. You know what I mean? Like for a wide receiver, especially, like he's a slot guy. He's going over the middle. We'll talk about like the details of his contract negotiations. We will, Hunter. I promise.
Okay, good.
You have a rant locked in.
Unforgivable.
I did a lot of research on Pro Football Reference in 1986.
Yeah, hey,
I was like,
you know
have
who didn't is Cameron Crowe when he wrote the fucking movie. He didn't do an ounce of research on what fucking wide receivers should have been paid.
So 11 million is insulting.
You wish it was fucking $11 million. What he is initially offered, the offer that he receives. No.
It's the initial
dangerously
offer
low.
is like what?
So I have the original offer. Let's just go ahead and do this now.
God damn it.
The original offer that he gets is $1.7 million over 3 years.
That's insane.
That is disgusting.
So for context,
do you have his stats?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
So read his.
That's 300K.
So Rod is a receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, which are like a small market team, yada, yada.
Okay.
But
so
here are his stats the previous year.
He tells, skipping forward a little bit, whenever they're at the NFL draft, he tells Mel Kiper that last season, Rod Tidwell is the best kept secret in the NFL. Last year, he put up 110 catches and 1,550 yards in the same year. in modern day, like 1,550 yards, there's been like a big passing boom. That's about the 40th best season ever. It's pretty good.
That's still really crazy.
In 1996, 1,550 yards would be the 9th most yards in a season ever in record history. Catches is even more impressive. In 1996, that would be the 6th most ever to happen in a season. Ahead of him is like Jerry Rice, Herman Moore, Michael Irvin. It's the greatest wide receivers of all time. So he's not the best kept secret in the NFL.
He's an all-time player.
He has had unobjectively a top 10 season all time in the National Football League. And people are like, I just don't know if we can trust this guy. Like, I don't know why they didn't just make him like 80 catches for 950 yards or something like that, where it's like, oh, that's a good year, but you got concerns because he's small. Mm-hmm. If he's putting up these yardage, it doesn't matter if he's 5'4", you are giving him like a max contract at this point.
I think to blame here, according to the Wikipedia, is a guy named Lee Steinberg, who was a sports agent.
Jerry Maguire is kind of, well, him and somebody else are who Jerry Maguire is loosely based off of.
He was a consultant on the film. So Crowe didn't just make up numbers out of nowhere. He must have talked to Mr. Steinberg.
He got shitty numbers. He got trash numbers.
I know the salary cap is different. Like back then it was like
it doesn't matter though.
$20 million for the salary cap and whatever. Just for context, and granted, it's like 30 years later. Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the NFL, just signed a deal. So Rod wants 4 years for $10 million. Justin Jefferson just signed for 4 years for $140 million.
Yeah.
So
if you rewind it 30 years to 96, you're still looking
he still should be making like $8 million a year or something like that.
Exactly.
It still should be like top of the market. But
yeah, pro player salary. So
no wonder people are like, "Hi, can I please get guaranteed money because I will play 5 years, then die, and I will have like $300,000 to spend the rest of my life with
and permanent brain damage."
The other thing, while we're on this rant right now,
oh boy,
I want to talk about Jerry. And is he a good agent? Because
no,
my guy we've already established he has had one of like the top 10 receiving seasons ever. He's stuck doing water mattress commercials and like local car dealerships at Camel Chevrolet.
He should be the most famous man in Arizona.
That's insane. He should be Mr. Arizona. Mm-hmm. What are we doing right now?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
It's really brutal. And
you have anything to say for yourself, Jerry? No? Silence?
Jerry, you too busy trying to fuck another assistant?
So the other issue but the other funny thing about Jerry is that basically, so the movie begins with him being a sleaze bag and then realizing he needs to change, then like getting sick.
Is that what's happening? I feel like,
well, so
why is he sad?
Because he literally like gets sick and like writes a manifesto.
He gets like a cold.
He has like food poisoning or something, or a cold or something, and he writes a whole manifesto to his company that basically says, hey, as a company, we should do worse financially.
Yeah, he said we should have less clients.
Yeah. Also, we don't really know.
Do not say.
We don't really know the full extent of what he writes.
It doesn't.
We don't see it. But
it was probably really bad writing. He's fucking ill.
Renee, we should say Dorothy, absolutely loves it.
Yeah, well, we'll get into it. Dorothy's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
For buying in so hard with this fucking guy. She has a child to take care of.
I will say, we don't know what the things we think and do not say what it is. I wish that like it existed somewhere, but Cameron Crowe and company probably didn't want to write. Like,
isn't it based on pages.
It's based on a memo that Jeffrey Katzenberg wrote to Michael Eisner whenever he worked at Disney.
Whoa.
So this is another book that I'm reading called Disney War. I'm just really into war books that have war in the title. Mm-hmm. War and Peace coming up next. But
nice.
So going back to the Disney, the Eisner era, Eisner was CEO, and then Katzenberg was like the number 3 in charge. And there was the president of Disney at the time, Frank. I'm blanking out his name, but it doesn't matter. But he was like acting as this intermediary. Eisner and Katzenberg always hated each other. They always had this beef. And Katzenberg one day basically wrote a memo saying the same thing, which is like, we should make less movies and make them better and give people the care that they need, and sent it out to the entire Disney staff. And from that point on, like, he was like on death row. And as soon as the intermediary between the two of them died in like a helicopter accident, he was out like 2 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment Jerry gets fired is, I think, when the movie really starts.
Yeah.
In a real way.
When the firing scene itself.
That
whole
scene
sequence
rules. Yeah, it's really great.
You can't open the movie there, obviously.
No, and it's pretty quick to get there. But speaking toward cast aligning with character, Bob Sugar is played by Jay Moore, who was like a stand-up comedian for like decades, and he's been around. He was in a CBS sitcom when we were kids. It was called like
that guy.
It was called like Gary Unmarried. Really, really forgettable. I'm sure he made more money on that show than he made like, you know, in like 10 lifetimes before that combined. He's so fucking good in this movie that I truly wonder why he wasn't utilized as an actor more. Maybe I've heard he's kind of an asshole. Maybe he's just difficult or something. But my God, he's good. He's a perfect foil to Jerry because he's not overdoing it in terms of evilness, even though his lines, the way he's written by Cameron Crowe, is pretty overtly evil. He's kind of giving nothing in the face. Like, he's like, no, I'm a sociopath. I don't care. Like, yeah, like what the fuck do you think would happen, Jerry? It's really great.
I feel like that's standard sports agent stuff at a certain point. It's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
If you're emotional and really overthinking it like Jerry, you're not that as effective. You have to be cutthroat. You have to be just looking at the numbers.
It's the thing that you are like Mr. Guy in the living room until they aren't making you money anymore, and then you kick them to the curb so that you can make space for somebody else to make you money.
It's also Cameron Crowe is a really confounding filmmaker. He's been absolutely all over the map. I haven't seen most of his good movies. I've only really seen a couple of his bad ones.
We Bought a Zoo is
that's
a good one.
It's fucking incredible.
Okay, yeah. It's
I actually do not like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I'm not a fan of the movie. I think the script is really, really trite and lame, and most of the acting in that movie is pretty putrid, to be honest.
Hey, our boy, our young Cage himself is in that movie.
It has I think my least favorite actor ever. What's his name?
Sean Penn.
No.
He writes Fast Times. He doesn't direct it.
I know. Judge Reinhold, my least favorite actor ever.
The
stepdad in the Santa Claus.
Speaking of least favorite actor ever, Say Anything is his directorial debut.
God, you fucking hate John Cusack.
Man, so next time that we do a bracket for us to do, like,
you're gonna ride for
I'm gonna put John Cusack has to be a nominee, and I'm going to I'm gonna bring the bots out. I'm gonna bring the bots out to all vote for John Cusack.
I'll watch
campaign.
2012,
1408. 2012. What other number movies has he been in?
Let's do the Cusacks. Let's do them both.
Joan would be more fun.
There's a third one too.
Oh, good.
What?
Yeah, remember?
Great.
Is it like
bring them all out?
Jed? They all have to start like kind
Jebediah.
of the same. Yeah.
It's Jeb.
So Cameron Crowe's really been all over the map, and I think the quality of his writing has as well. There are some lines in this movie that we'll get to the iconic ones, but even in this scene where like he's getting fired, I love the little Jay Moore line of like, yeah, this is happening. You should say something. Like, that's just such a crazy little like wake up call line where it's like, damn, this, you don't see lines like that in a movie. It's very
Crowe is cooking with this. This is such a well written movie.
It's like the amount of quotes in this, again, kind of going back to Forrest Gump, is like, this is like kind of up there with Forrest Gump for one of just the most quotable movies ever. And it's not just the big ones. I always think about the introduction, which we passed over it, but the introduction to Kelly Preston as Avery in this, after we have the like, don't you ever stop fucking me scene. Then she says like, if you ever wanted me to be with another woman for you, I'd do it. It's not something I'm interested in. Once, yeah, it seemed normal, but it was just a phase, a college thing, like torn Levi's or law school for you.
Oh, into the camera.
Yeah, just directly into the camera. And Tom's like, I don't think we need to tell each other everything.
That's
Just
great.
incredible exchange for like a character introduction right there.
It kind of calls into question Crowe's forte with females.
With women. But it also is showing something maybe a little bit about himself. Jerry Maguire's like inability to be alone. Like he truly, like, that is the one thing about this guy, is that he cannot be alone with himself and with his own thoughts
the
for
whole
a goddamn second.
the bachelor party video.
Yeah.
All his those are all his exes,
Love ya.
right?
Yeah. The finger points. Love ya.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't love anything.
I mean, there's definitely something here playing with Cruise's public persona, right? And the whole movie star phenomenon that he's on. In 96, we're in full Cruise domination mode. Like, people are going into Jerry Maguire with an understanding of who Tom Cruise is.
They had just seen Ethan Hunt 4 months earlier in the movie theater, 5 months earlier in the movie theater.
Oh shit, really?
July.
We're doing this a little out of order.
Yeah, but
Okay.
this is the apex mountain of Tom Cruise right here. This 6 month stretch.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that when you see things like that, you have to consider, like, okay, the irresistible nature of wanting to be with Tom Cruise coincides with Jerry Maguire feeling this need to feed off of that irresistibility to some extent, even if it's not direct. It's the vibe of the character has to be like, okay, I know I'm the shit.
Yeah.
Right.
It's got to have like a confidence, and it's got to have, this whole movie, the characters, the script, they have to have a swagger to them, because otherwise, in the wrong hands, like, this movie is corny as hell and it sucks. It is John Cusack just holding up the fucking radio at the window. Like, it's got to be something. When you see somebody in the elevator, the guy signing "You Complete Me," and then you have that moment later on in the movie, that shouldn't work. That should be like a boo moment. This is like a cheap rom-com move that you're pulling here.
I do think
it works.
I
man.
do think it does start out a little corny. I feel like the moment when he gets fired, because what you just read with
when he says, "I'm Mr. Black People,"
right?
That's the moment.
the sex scene and eating the strawberries, that's before getting fired, right? Yeah. So up until that point, I think you're still very much in the in between of like, I don't know exactly what movie I'm watching.
Still narrating it. Actually, at that point,
and then he gets fired. Show me the money. I love black people. And
you're my motherfucker.
You're my motherfucker. Takes the goldfish.
The fish are coming with me.
Flip out. That is like
so good.
The movie fundamentally changes in that stretch, and then we're off. Like, then we are in an entirely new gear, in my opinion.
No, it's one of my favorite like scenes just for any actor in any movie. He's just like, his thing about flip out. What his whole thing is about, he's just like, I'm about loyalty. You know what? Those fish are loyal. Fish are coming with me. Coming with me. It's like something it's so sad and pathetic, and everybody in this movie, Drew, you're right, everybody in this movie is dumb. And that's kind of a thing that is like makes this movie work as a whole, is like, actually this isn't a bunch of like perfect people and they're like nailing it and getting the all-stars and everything.
Yeah,
else.
Jerry's
like,
really
are all
Jerry's
flawed.
in his flop era for most of this movie, and Cuba and Dorothy are both really dumb for going along with him. Like, objectively speaking, they're both very irresponsible for doing that. And that makes the movie work better because
exactly.
You want to buy this guy so bad, and you know he means well, but you're also watching him struggle so hard. It's the closest I've seen Tom Cruise to having like true like internality. You know what I mean? Like having layers to what's going on with him mentally.
Yeah.
Usually,
you wanna root for him.
He's usually a very straightforward character. And this is relatively straightforward, but like the idea of him playing like a man who is just now like waking up and realizing what he is. Like
He's
that
35.
that's just way
His life just started.
that's way more than we ever get from like a Tom Cruise part. You know what I mean? Like he's not usually asked to do that.
Or
This
it's
is
something
incredible.
that it's like Rain Man, where we have to take like an entire movie to get to that part. I think that one of the things that does make this movie work well is that like he's a player with he's a character with complexity and layers, and we're getting that like from jump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get it really quick. Him making the calls rocks. It all plays out really smartly. It's, I think one source of corn for me watching the movie the first time was like the fact that I've seen so many versions of it that have come out afterward. It, like those scenes, you know what I mean? The big scene where like everyone in the room is looking at him and he's like, well, I guess, you know what I mean? Like that scene has happened in a million things since then.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah. That just happened. I love the move of like everything immediately resuming when he walks out.
Yeah.
It's almost like cartoonish the way it happens, like the way that they're directed to like, it's not like they like sort of bustle and be like, well, that was weird. They literally just keep walking.
Yeah.
Very funny. Kelly Preston, great casting. Rest in peace. Should we do Travolta at some point?
Michael.
Ooh. The Michael series. It's just us doing Michael.
Hairspray.
No, that'd be a fun one. I just watched Blow Up for the first time last week. Side tangent.
That's De Palma, right?
Yeah. Might be like a perfect movie. Banger of movie.
So
So after he gets fired, we cut straight to Laurel's divorced women's group, right?
mhm.
I think so. I love the divorced women's group. Let me just say, I love the way that it's shot with like shaky handheld
It
cam.
feels real. It's like documentary.
I have
They're probably
questions-
just yapping.
I have questions about like what times of the night that they're meeting at based on something that happens later on at the end of the movie. But I think it's just like, it's cool. It just seems like a bunch of gals that just got together and just are like, men are all pigs. We hate men. But like, I love like the characters themselves. Some really funny lines in there that they're having. And I love Bonnie Hunt as Laurel. I think that she's great. I think that she has like the perfect casting of like
the sister, right?
Yeah. The sister to Dorothy, who Dorothy is just like this frazzled empath who's just trying to see the best in everything and everyone around her. And Laurel's like, I know your perfect husband died, but most men are just after one thing. And guess what? She's fucking right the entire time. Laurel is right. She's like, I don't really trust this guy's intentions.
Men only
on
want
anything.
one thing, and it's Jonathan Lipnicki.
It's Lipnicki.
There are multiple scenes where like literally he almost just says it like that. He's like, yeah, but I love her kid so much.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't give a fuck about Dorothy.
Yeah, he married her for a
But
kid.
God, he loves that little fucker.
I could have sworn that Bonnie Hunt was the mom in Seventh Heaven. Is that not? No, that's not it.
Mandela effect.
Did she not play a mom in a sitcom at some point?
I mean, she's probably played a mom.
I don't know, but there's no fucking way she would be in Seventh Heaven.
I was gonna say Seventh Heaven is not feel
She was way too big for that. It would have been no.
Catherine Hicks plays the mom in Seventh Heaven.
you
Also
think
a
Seventh Heaven head. Is that the show where in the first episode, like it's like brother and sister, and they're like, "What if we practice kissing?" Isn't that Seventh Heaven?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's that show that happens. And I was like, "What the fuck is this show?"
It's like a pastor and like his 7
Yeah.
kids.
That show sucks.
She
Cool.
kind of looks like
Yeah, totally.
Bonnie Hunt.
Okay.
a little
That
bit.
was the worst syndicated show I think I've ever seen. It was on ABC Family all the time. Just absolute dog shit.
It was made for families.
Bonnie Hunt rocks. Great actress. Playing exactly to type in this. Like literally, you couldn't pick someone better. It's like I imagine they would just audition her and then like Sally Field.
Yeah,
Basically every single part in the 90s was her and Sally Field. I know it gets brought up a lot on the pod, but they came together.
she was in
Disapproving
Life
Sister.
with Bonnie. Sorry, I just wanted to say that was the show that I think you might be thinking of. Is Life
Okay.
with Bonnie.
I don't think that he has ever heard of that.
You never heard of Life with Bonnie?
No one's
That's-
ever heard of it.
Life with Bonnie was a pretty big show. It was on ABC.
What
it was
about-
an ABC sitcom?
What about they came together?
the disapproving sister character.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
based directly on Bonnie Hunt. The hair, down to the hairdo.
It's so good here because the moment when basically they both together as sisters decide that they're going to give Jerry a chance is so well done because she's still disapproving, but she enables it. She helps her out, but she's a little snarky about it. And that's a great dynamic.
Yeah,
love to see it.
Yeah, this is good Crowe. Is like I think the Bonnie Hunt part is like very Crowe because she's very clever and quick. You know, everything that she says, she's very witty. And so Crowe gets to be like, yeah, that's right. I'm pretty smart. I'm a pretty smart guy. It all works well. Perfect casting. As long I want to lay out the rest of the cast because it really just does come down to like 10 flawlessly cast parts.
Regina King,
Kush.
Oh my god, dude, the guy who plays Kush, Jerry O'Connell, playing Nirvana on an acoustic guitar in the fucking draft room.
Yeah, really, truly,
rocks.
just playing like the dumbest bitch on earth.
just want to play football.
I just want to play ball.
Kush's dad, that evil fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that whole sequence is like one of the best sequences in the entire movie is when Jerry still thinks he has Cushman. So like getting him to stay. We first get like the moment of him like surfing the radio until he like finds Free Fallin'. I like the little detail. He's like trying to find the right song to sing along. And he's just like, just call me. No, that's not it. And just like kind of like skimming around until he finds Free Fallin'.
Yeah, it's just a man that's right on the edge of breaking. I mean, Rod Tidwell says that at one point.
Yeah,
he's like, "You're barely holding it together."
Dude,
I like that about you.
right before we get like the big Cushman scene towards the draft. I love when they're in the airport and Jerry leaves him and goes over to Kush, and then all the kids go up to Rod Tidwell and they're like, "Hey, are you Hootie?"
Yeah.
It's great.
I wonder who they
fucked up kids.
Great.
I mean, that's just you know, that's because they cast Cuba. I wonder who it is in the original script. You know what I mean? Cuba just looks like Hootie.
there might just be stuff that they throw in there because they're vibing making this thing.
Oh, absolutely.
That just goes back to the divorce group. Like, I don't think that a lot of that was scripted. It doesn't feel like it, at least.
Those bitches are divorced.
Yeah.
There's somebody and they like go home to their husband and he's like, "What the fuck was that?"
That was so specific.
Yeah. Why'd you talk about my tiny toes? Yeah, I do love Kush. I love Cushman's dad. The moment where he says the whole thing and like Tom has like the deranged fucking smile on his face as he's playing pretend, talking to Bob Sugar on the phone, and he like confronts him about like what's going on. He's just like, you were in the lobby with that black fella. It's like, oh, you're like a racist piece of shit. Oh, that's what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, fuck you.
And Jerry
Dad.
says, "I love black people."
Yeah. I'm Mr. Black People.
Hey,
in fact,
I love black people.
I love your son. I love your son.
Jerry picking up the phone and it being Bob Sugar fucking rules.
that's a great moment.
Yeah.
Oh, can I go on one last? This is my last big tangent that I have.
Sports related
tangent because it's 1996. So the two teams that are trading up for the number one pick are San Diego and Denver. San Diego makes sense. In 90s, they're like kind of middling. They have like Stan Humphries at quarterback. They're just like a 500 team, whatever. In 1996, the Denver Broncos had a guy named John Elway. And they were about to win back-to-back Super Bowls. So why Denver? Why is that the other team that they were just like, oh, it's between two teams that are going to trade up and take him? San Diego's fine, whatever. Why make it Cleveland? Why not make it like literally anybody else?
You know why? I think it's because it has to be.
Is it just for the he'll either go skiing or surfing joke? Is that the only reason why they made it Denver?
That is funny. I think it's because it has to be like either an esteemed franchise or San Diego, because like part of the rub there is that he doesn't want, you know, he would rather go to Denver, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm pretty sure that is
just like timing wise. I feel like in 1996, it's something that I think that now we watch it and like nobody thinks twice about it. But I'm sure in the theater in 1996, there was at least some dads in the theater like, I got John Elway.
Grumble.
Why is Denver trading for a quarterback?
I wonder if it's maybe due to the NFL's involvement in the movie, because they must have had someone involved with the
or
production.
the teams that could, because it's like draft day, like the Cleveland Browns and the Seattle Seahawks and stuff
it's
like that.
like
agreed
product
to be in
placement
it.
at a certain point.
Yeah.
Just the mention in the movie.
I forgot to say, this is actually my conspiracy theory about the whole salary conversation we were having, is that obviously the NFL is involved in the movie. Maybe the NFL was like,
numbers down.
hey, don't give these fucking receivers any big ideas.
Oh my God.
That tracks.
Less than $1 million.
Here's the
We
thing.
start at less than $1 million and it's reasonable.
Are you telling me that like one of the most like sketchy organizations in American history, the National Football League, might have had some ulterior motives here? Yeah, no, that actually that tracks. I like that. I like that conspiracy.
Yeah, doesn't
theory.
that make sense?
That tracks.
Thank you. So do we think that Damon Lindelof watched Regina King in this and was like, I bet she could do some really like ethereal shit?
Yeah, she's a
This
cop.
was the performance.
She's a superhero cop.
She's so awesome in this. She's a perfect match with Cuba. She matches the energy, but she's more of like a grown up.
Is this like her first performance in anything? Like this is like very, very, very early on in the Regina King experience. Has she done like really anything of note up to 1996?
Man, you gotta scroll past some shit. Yeah, she was in Boys in the Hood and Poetic Justice.
Oh, okay. For some reason I I guess it's earlier 90s.
And Higher Learning. This you could say that this was like her first like big white people movie,
Right.
honestly. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, because it's literally Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, Higher Learning.
Yeah, which
Boys
Friday.
in the Hood broke through on like a
I was
critical
gonna say,
level.
well, all three of
but
those are like elite like black cinema.
It's
Like,
John Singleton.
It's broke through for like cinephiles and for film community people, but not for like the mass public, not for like Joe Schmo in Idaho.
Joe Schmo in Idaho loves Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, he
Right.
fucking loves.
Maybe he'll go back and watch Boys in the Hood now.
Yeah, he's just like, why wasn't Cushman from Boise State? I don't know why I give him a southern accent. I don't know what Idaho people sound like.
I like that movie because of Regina King.
You're gonna find out soon.
I'm gonna find out very soon.
Well, they're very northern, so they might be closer to
is it a little bit of runoff from
from
some
Canada.
some Canadian?
Wow.
I gotta work on my
Wow.
No, I have to work on my Jodie Comer in the bike rider's voice.
Throwing it down.
It's talking to my girl Julie, and I talked to Julie, and she said that Joey, you don't want to mess with him.
Let me guess. Austin Butler's a little down here.
He's a little
of
gravelly.
I'm thinking of biking.
And then he has got somebody who's just like boiling it down.
Point it.
This guy boiling it down.
Point it down.
I'm starting to bike again.
I'm thinking of starting a bike gang.
I'm thinking of pointing it down.
I'm thinking about pointing it down.
It's scared of
God,
us.
it sucks that The Bike Riders is just like a pretty good movie. It's not bad or great.
I'm still
so
excited for
the
it.
voices just aren't going to go anywhere because like 12 people are going to see this fucking movie.
Isn't it just Goodfellas,
Yeah, it's just
like the
crazy.
same
it's,
plot?
It's basically just kind of like Goodfellas
but on bikes?
on bikes, and it's not.
How's
as
our
good
boy
as Goodfellas.
Norman Reedus, Mr. Death
Listen,
Stranding?
Norman
himself?
Reedus is he's really fun.
Burn it down.
Yeah, they got Death Stranding's more Norman Reedus in here.
Yeah.
And you love to see that. Any other characters you wanted to shout out from
Well,
No,
I wanted to go down to where it talks about how Tom Hanks was the original conceit for the role of Jerry Maguire, which is insane. It says Cameron Crowe originally wrote the screenplay for Tom Hanks, but it took him so long to write it that he felt like Hanks aged out of the role.
Huh.
That's honestly good.
But
The thing
is
is-
Cruise not older than Hanks?
I think they're like the same age.
Well, but Cruz has like that younger man.
No, I
to him.
know.
he has the
younger
blood
quality.
infusions, the oxygenated.
Yeah.
Hanks is 5 years older than Cruise.
Yeah. So in
Yeah,
96,
that makes
that's
sense
more
because Hanks
pronounced.
broke through when he was like later.
I know,
on in
like
his life.
way older.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just because, Cruise had like a mini peak in the 80s.
I mean, that's like one of those things where it's just like the ultimate blessing in disguise. Because I feel like if Hanks is in this movie, it's fine. It might even be like pretty good, but it's not a classic.
It's probably like another Sleepless in Seattle, like another like really good rom-com.
It really leans more into the rom-com than
Yeah.
like the comedy, the sports movie of it all. Because I don't think that he can play that.
I think he can. I think the only issue would be it would be hard to imagine that he had even at one point been a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, mean, he has some like some assholiness to him, especially if it is younger. If we're thinking 1991 Hanks, that is a
like
little bit more
League of Their Own
believable.
era.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's still, that was him like going way against type. Like you see him if you saw him in this movie, A, the narration would rock because his voice rules. But B, you'd be like, yeah, like of course he's a good guy.
You don't like Cruise's narration?
No, it's lovely.
Hey, that's me flying around on
You
the
probably
big
wonder how I got
spaceship
here.
Earth. I'm just a little sports guy, but I'm not out there on the field playing. I'm behind the scenes.
Okay, all right. You're starting to talk me away from that. Oh, can I say one?
It should have been Tom Hardy.
That's it. Hey,
Yeah, that's me.
hey, that's me.
I'm thinking of
See
starting
that
a
little
sports
dot right
agency.
there?
I'm thinking of pointing it down.
I really love.
Show me the money.
I love black people.
Want it? I miss the black people.
Help me help you.
Hey, why don't you help me help
Hey,
you?
you complete me. Yeah, Milo.
It's so much. It's smaller than you think it's gonna be.
I know you've actually seen the movie. I'm basing this on like 2 lines from the trailer. Point it down.
But just point it.
I want you to reenact scenes from this between Renee and Tom, but with bike riders,
And-
Tom Hardy
and
then,
Julianne Moore.
And Julianne Moore. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Terry. Terry.
You just thought me for my son.
Terry, the way you talk to Ray. Some say it's a gift.
I studied marketing with Jerry.
Dorothy, that's the thing, Dorothy, about sports agenting.
Maybe I am naive.
Oh god.
Oh fuck.
So the
I do like the speaking, not so much of the voiceover. I really like the cuts to Jerry Maguire's mentor, Dicky Fox.
Yeah.
Just that guy as like a thing. Anytime it's like kind of like a thing, like a normie movie of like, now we're gonna say what Jerry's thinking for this next 20 minutes, like right before you do it.
It
But I like
also-
the way that's done.
I think it honestly is taking a cue from like When Harry Met Sally in like
Right.
the interviews with real people, even though this is the same way that is like actors playing real people in When Harry Met Sally. You know what I mean? It's like a sort of a pace breaker. Like it divides the movie into nice little chapters. It's a lovely little device.
well, I just assumed that was a real guy. Because there are a lot of people playing themselves
Yeah.
in this movie.
I know, but this is just like some dude.
It's mostly just the athletes. There's a lot like Drew Bledsoe is in here and
Fucking
a
Mel
lot of-
Kiper. So one thing I do want to say, so
Mel
obviously,
Kiper with the same fucking widow's peak he's had for
Yeah.
60 years.
I mean, at this point, the widow's peak has died. It's a widow's peak.
It's like
it's a
imagine it like it goes back to like here. Like it goes back
Yeah.
to like his
yeah.
couch.
He has a widow's peak on like the back of his neck. One thing it could, because people have talked shit about like how does Mel Kiper not recognize Rod Tidwell. I fully do believe that once you are no longer in college, you don't exist to Mel Kiper. he only covers college, and he is like a muppet of a man.
Yeah. And still just like out there thinking like if Brady Quinn does not become a starting NFL
Yeah,
quarterback,
as far
I'll
as he
kill
knows,
myself.
the best quarterback in the NFL is Jimmy Clausen. right
Jimmy
now.
Clausen, that's who it is.
So anyway, yeah, I enjoyed all the little sports cameos. You know what I mean? They give some credibility. I love that we're in the real NFL in this movie. It would really suck if he was playing for like the Thunderbolts or whatever the
Right.
fuck,
or just some
if it was like the
made-up shit.
replacements or something like that, where it's just made up teams.
Yeah.
That's 100%. It's great that does have that level of the NFL that like, especially, I don't want to jump too far ahead to it, but like the Monday Night Football, the ending of this movie fucking rules, and you couldn't do that without the NFL of it all.
when he's on the talk show.
No, but during the game
Right
when you
before.
have the
The actual game.
you have
Al Michaels.
yeah,
on the
you
call.
have Al and Frank Gifford and the third guy on the call, which is a horrible booth. But apparently they did do that for a little with that trio. It doesn't make any sense. Al Michaels and Frank Gifford are both play-by-play
Yeah,
guys.
you don't have two play-by-play guys on the call.
I cannot believe they did that. like on real, like they did that shit. Anyway,
It was, yeah, who knows?
Since you brought it up, though, I mentioned Cuba gets the nom when he's introduced. He gets the win in that scene, right? Like you watching that scene, it's like, how can you not give him the Oscar?
Yeah, I think it's a gradual win for me because he gets so many scenes with Cruise, who is dialing it up, and Cuba is beating him. Like Cuba is just absolutely, he's a fucking cannonball in this movie. Like he's shooting through anyone who's trying to stop him. So every single scene they have to get. My favorite scene in the whole movie is the locker room. The fine, fine.
The help me help you, and then the bathroom
kicks
and
the
everything.
lockers.
Yeah,
Fine. It's so funny. Like, and they're both just like, oh, you're not gonna beat me. Like, no, I'll go bigger than you. You think I won't? It's fucking incredible.
Also, the Quan's great.
Yeah.
Gotta have the Quan.
You're my ambassador of Quan.
That's so
very end.
cool. That rocks. Are you kidding me?
I read that Cameron Crowe thought that was going to be the big thing.
The Quan.
Yeah.
If you ask my dad, that is the big thing.
He talks about Quan.
My dad has talked about the Quan.
And what's the context?
Just like, yeah, you got to get the Quan, son.
You got to get the Quan.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to achieve Quan.
Oh, okay. You have to
Quan's a
maintain
state
your
of
Quan.
mind. Yeah. It's a thing to yearn for.
Right. I mean, to the staying power of like the quotability of this movie, I think this is in the running for one of the most quotable movies of all time. Like the number of memorable quotes is kind of unmatched in this movie.
And Forrest Gump, or just like the between "Help me help you," "Show me the money," "I love black people,"
"You had me at hello."
Hello, like all of the things are just Because every like 15 minutes, there's at least one quote that you're like, oh shit, that's from this movie too.
I also think a lot of like the most quotable movies ever, the quotes are the result of a lot of context.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, for example.
Right.
Those lines are iconic because the movie's iconic.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not like show-stopping lines necessarily. Yeah. But like, you know, the movie itself is show-stopping. This movie, like the lines are the movie. Like the lines are making the movie in a way different way.
It also, like, a quotable movie there has to be layers to the quotability. Like there has to be like the top of the iceberg of the big ones that are known. And there has to be moments like my boy Chad, right before they're about to go on a date, is just like, tonight I'm going to teach Ray here about jazz.
Get the fuck out of
Chad
here, Chad.
Rules.
What's going on with
he's
Chad?
about to fuck Dorothy, and he's just like, wait, before you go, take this, and hands him a Miles Davis Coltrane jazz cassette.
I love their reaction.
Before you penetrate her, I need you to put this in. And Tom is like, what are we listening to?
What is this
right
music?
now?
It's great. I love little moments like that where you think the movie is headed in one direction and it just kind of
and you
flips
just hear
it around.
Freeform jazz.
Yeah, because
it's not What's Going On by Marvin Gaye.
If this movie was more self-serious, like he would have given him like good music to fuck to, and then they would fuck to the fuck music.
Yeah, and that would be it.
Yeah, but the fact that they're laughing at him because they're, you know what I mean? It's almost like they're going like, what is that guy's deal as a character anyway? Why that guy's got one thing? He's got one characteristic.
It's honestly really kind of efficient, and I'll say like maybe high level screenwriting, because it can't be that easy. It feels like every scene is handing something to the next one to feel like the movie is gaining this sense of momentum. Like you're kind of carrying, as the movie goes on, you're carrying something from all the previous scenes. Yeah. And maybe it's not like completely cumulative, but you feel like there is this sense of connection.
No, it is. And then on like a macro level, the whole way the movie's built is based on that, because the entire movie is about believing in an idea and believing in a man who has an idea, and like all characters in the movie that remain in the movie for the whole thing are attached to him because they believe in his idea.
Yeah.
Like, so you like both sides of it, like his career arc, it's still related to that. It's related to like his idea of what his job should be. So you get Rod's whole family depending on Jerry's idea mattering and working. And then you get Renee and her fucking child, who she's just like, yeah, I don't give a fuck if you give me health insurance.
Let's get married.
She's such a moron.
She sucks as she's just an idiot. Can we go back a step to, I think, my favorite scene in the entire movie, which is when Tom shows up trash to Dorothy. After he had just gotten his ass beat by Avery. He got fucking knocked out at the draft. And he shows up. Bonnie Hunt is there, like, answering the door, just like immediately, like, I know exactly what this guy's here for. He's just trying to fuck. I love Ray immediately, like, wakes up whenever, like, she runs into the other room to get a beer or whatever.
Yeah.
And
he's like, Mommy gives me caffeine every night.
Hi, Jerry.
And just the whole exchange that they have together. And my favorite part is when Ray's just like, he's a child. And he's like, I want to go to the zoo. Take me to the zoo. And Jerry's like, the zoo's fucking closed.
You said fuck.
It's so good. But like, that's the thing. It's a funny moment. But then, like, throughout the movie, he's just like, I gotta take Ray to the zoo. I told him I was gonna take him to the zoo. Like, he never, that's like really the moment where they have this like connection together. But it's still early enough on the movie that, like, one, Tom showing up to like his subordinate's house trashed, then like just like immediately at the first time of like the first moment of any kind of connection is just like, I'm gonna grab your boob. Like, just I'm going straight for the boob after like swinging the fireplace poker around.
Yeah,
everything
and
else.
then I do like that he's very quickly, he's like, I feel like I'm assaulting you.
No, he's just like,
He does kiss
says,
her at the end.
you know
of
that
it.
feeling when you're not embarrassed now, but you get a glimpse of tomorrow's embarrassment. Which is a great bit. Another character moment I love. Tom is continually hitting a light fixture that's in the house, like running right into it. Our boy Tom is what, like 5'4"? Is this like a 4.5 foot tall light fixture? Like,
He's
what?
on those platform shoes.
It got installed by Jonathan Lipnicki.
Why? He keeps running into it, and it left me to believe, like, how tall is Jerry Maguire? Not Tom Cruise, but is Jerry Maguire like 6'3"?
Stand up, Hunter.
How tall is? You might have to. I think that he's closer to your height than mine.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, he's like
Yeah.
basically the same. Drew, you probably have like maybe 2 inches on Jerry.
Like an inch or so.
So he's like 6 feet.
Well, hold on. So Renee Zellweger is 5'4".
So like the same height as Tom.
And when they're at the airport and they're holding Lipnicki by the hands, swinging him around, he probably has like a foot on her.
Actually, I'm curious. I now want to go back and see, like,
they're
what is
dislocating one of his arms with their height difference.
if you like enhance the image, do you just see Tom is wearing like fucking clogs that are like
he's
6
wearing
inches
the
tall?
DeSantis boots.
Well, no, that's what it must be. I am so excited to get to Eyes Wide Shut because he is
Nicole Kidman, who's like almost 6 foot, and he's just a little guy.
He is so small next to Nicole. There's a couple shots in that movie where he is his normal height next to tall ass Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Stanley
It's
Kubrick's
great.
like, I'm not giving you platforms. I refuse to.
But going back to the quotability point, you're shouting out some great quotes, and I think that part of the magic of this movie is that it sprinkles in these really great lines that are not the memorable ones. And the experience of watching it is just like, especially rewatching it, you're waiting for the quotable stuff.
Yeah, but then you hear
and in between,
you hear
it's
other
gold.
ones.
And then
It's
you
just-
hear Dorothy say, I've had 3 lovers in 4 years, and all of them ran a distant second to a good book and a warm bath.
Right.
And you're just like, bars.
I
All
wrote
right.
down, do you want this jacket? I don't need it because I'm cloaked in failure. That's when they're at the airport and he's so sad.
That scene is also incredible when he's just like moping around feeling bad for himself, and Rod is just like, fuck you, you're my agent too, like I don't give a shit about Bob Cushman.
Also got to shout out, we are so back. We are so very, very back.
Yeah.
In
The origin
2024 America, we we cling on to that one.
Like us K Hive members cling on to that.
Yeah. Us who fell out of the coconut tree, really.
Coconut Hive.
On the eve of Independence Day and the collapse of the United States of America, we celebrate you, Jerry Maguire.
Facts.
Love Cuba singing.
Do we
Marvin
think Jerry
Gaye.
Maguire's like an RFK Jr. guy or like a?
No, he's a Joe. He's full Joe.
The old Jerry, Trump all the way.
Yeah, the new Jerry
Then he changed.
Stein.
Yeah,
He's with her, Jill Stein.
yeah. His manifesto is about like how the Green Party can get to 270 electoral
He's
votes.
just like, I think that Kevin Costner should run because I'm like full libertarian, just live off the land, but like the old land,
He's like
the Western land.
No, Jerry, I guarantee you, Jerry is just waiting for Mark Cuban to step in because I know he's gonna. Mark Cuban is low key been divesting all his assets, quitting
he's
Shark
going
Tank.
to save us.
I feel like he wants to run.
Has that been rumored? Are you like breaking news?
I mean,
right now?
not this cycle around, but I don't know. I feel like I didn't invent that. I've seen people talking about it, but
I mean,
why would he sell the team that is his entire identity and then quit
and
the
like
show?
selling it at a bad time
And
too,
then
before.
and then quit being on one of the most successful shows ever. That is also a key part of his identity.
if we're like drafting billionaires who aren't total pieces of shit, then
and then
Cuban's near a top draft pick.
he
so.
tweets politically all the time.
It would sway a lot of Cubans over. I'll tell you that.
Bro is Hungarian as hell.
So white.
But the signs would say Cuban.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people would be like, that's how he wins Florida. That's the only way that Dem is taking Florida back.
Cuban, and then Harris, it's very tiny.
Yeah.
Not socialist.
I will say, Cuban's done some like, I mean, I know he's a billionaire and like whatever else, but like doing the whole thing that he did around COVID times where he was like bought a bunch of shit from like that, I think it was diabetes medicine. Yeah. And then just actually like, I'm going to buy out all these companies and sell it for an affordable amount.
He launched a whole thing of buying prescriptions for cheap.
Granted, the Dallas Mavericks did have some scandals, things that weren't so great for the women who worked for their company, but so we won't worry about that.
And
he was an owner there.
He hated finding out about that.
Oh yeah, he was so upset. But you can't have them all, right?
Speaking of Cuba Gooding Jr. Sings Marvin Gaye.
Oh,
at the wedding.
Yeah, we get what's
Great
going
little
on.
bit.
I love that. Also a good callback to just some more Marvin Gaye. So right before that, the whole sequence of Dorothy about to leave town because Rod Tidwell gets an offer of $1.7 million for 3 years, and they're like, "Fuck you, we're not gonna sign that." So they can't afford to pay them. Dorothy's about to leave. Jerry has the like moment of like, I cannot be alone, or else I have to sit with my own thoughts.
Yeah, and so she manipulates him.
Yeah.
When
she's like, go ahead and put Lil Ray in the car.
Yeah. She does it multiple times. She, like
Ray is so sad.
Yeah,
she knows like that she is being used, and she's trying to use him back.
That's why I ultimately kind of love this love story because it is very cynical and yet still
it's very transactional.
Yeah, and that stops this movie from being too sweet and saccharine when it really should be. And sometimes it feels like it is, but then you like rewatching it, you're like, oh my god,
the characters suck.
This relationship is disgusting between them, and the movie knows it. Like every time she senses that he's like, he's pulling away, she basically like triggers his fight or flight reflex. Like it's so crazy. So she's not free of any wrongdoing here. And then he just needs someone to be around him. I think that's ultimately why this is one of like probably the best on-screen Cruise relationship, is because a piece of the relationship is that they don't have chemistry. You know what I mean?
And
like
it's built into the
like
text
they
of the
get married and Cuba Gooding's like, you guys like don't even fucking like come on guys.
She is very clearly in love with him. Like she's so
down bad, yeah.
Head over heels, like he is the boy of my dreams and everything else. Like that is everything that she ever wanted in a guy is him. And
he is gay.
He's so alone. He's just, I don't think that he's like capable of having like a sexual urge one way or another. I think that like he doesn't think in that way. He's just like an asexual being.
Bro was not enjoying fucking Kelly Preston.
Not at all. That shit was dry.
His dick.
His dick was dry. Or is Kelly, are you saying something about saying ill about the dead?
They had to put so much Vaseline on the lens in that scene because there was no moisture in that room.
No, Tom was sweating up a storm, but that's the only moisture that you're getting is just purely from them sweat ducts. I think that you are right, that this is really up there with his best like on-screen relationships because it fully capitalizes in Tommy's strength.
Yeah, his character is literally more into another man than he is into his wife. The character.
Just the character.
The character.
You aren't saying anything about the man or the Great Church of Scientology.
The character would rather hang out in a locker room with naked Cuba Gooding than hang out with Renée Zellweger. It's
really hard for me to buy Tom Cruise as a romantic lead in a movie. Like this is kind of just the only one.
That's why it works, is because he's literally not romantic. Like his character like has no interest in romance at all. He uses it as a tool to not be alone.
And we've had plenty of movies in the series where he does have a romantic subplot, like Top Gun, The Firm, even Interview with a Vampire. Him and Brad Pitt, they've got a little something going on there for sure. But this is obviously,
Men,
Few Good Men, not Demi Moore.
Sense, yeah. I mean, again, that's not what's driving the movie. Yeah, no,
Colored Money. There's a little bit in there.
Again, like if we're talking about his best relationship with an on-screen like a female co-star, it is this, and it's kind of Eyes Wide Shut, which is about him and his wife like actively going through a divorce. Like it is something that like. He's not who you want. He's not doing Sleepless in Seattle. I think that's what makes it fun about doing this pairing with Tom Hanks, because they are kind of polar opposites when it comes to not just their on-screen presence, but with how like their relationship, how they interact with their co-stars in the movie.
I'm curious how this must have been sold in 96, because I think the legacy of Jerry Maguire is not necessarily that it's a rom-com. Like you watch it and a huge chunk of it is a rom-com, but I feel like we know it more as a sports movie with rom-com elements, more of like kind of an even
like
split.
Classified as a romance, like as a romantic comedy. If you go on Google right now and just Google Jerry Maguire, it says comedy/romance.
Well, I know, but
that's because sports isn't a genre.
But if you go up,
seeing them play football in this movie, like it's not like, oh, it's a sports agent movie. It's like this and Moneyball, which is a sports agency, but like the behind the scenes of sports.
My point is, if you go up to a random person and you ask them, have you seen Jerry Maguire? And they say yes. And you ask them to describe like what kind of movie it is, they're probably going to say it's like a drama or a sports comedy drama.
But the most iconic line from this entire movie is "You complete me" with teary-eyed Tom, which that is one thing that's, whether or not he always has chemistry with female co-stars, like that kind of there's levels to it. But Tom, whenever he is getting emotional, I actually think that he is underrated as an actor at like his ability to hold emotion in his face. Like in that sequence, it is such a special skill to like hold tears in your eyes the way that he does, that it looks like somebody, not just who's like trying not to cry right there. It's somebody who looks like they've been crying for hours and is just trying to hold it in for that 10 minutes right there. Yeah. And that is something that is like a very like a complex expression of emotions that isn't just fully breaking down.
The Val Kilmer scene in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
That's
that shit right
It's
there. That shit where you see it feels like decades of emotion that is weighing on their face and weighing in their body posture in those
And he's
moments.
holding it back.
Yeah, he just has to hold it in for them. He has to be the strong one and deliver whatever it is.
It must be so difficult to play that as an actor, to play like you trying not to feel an emotion.
Yeah. It's so layered. It's so layered. It's incredible.
So before we get to the categories, just got to shout out like the final 15 minutes of this movie, essentially the game, passing out, getting up, then the interview with the press, running home to "You had me at hello, you complete me," and then the final little button with the salary.
So yeah, that whole football game sequence I think is pretty incredible. I do love the little moments where cut to Regina King in the home watching Rod Tidwell and Rod's brother TP. Is that what his name is?
TP.
Yeah, TP. Just actively talking shit about his brother the entire time. Like just fully like negging
we're
him
having
constantly.
fun.
He
Shouts
says
out,
like,
by the way, Aries Spears, Mad TV legend.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fucking impressionist legend, roast legend.
he is I think I've mostly seen him on roasts and shit like that. But I do love the line where he's just like, everybody knows that he gets scared for these nationally televised games, which made me think, is Rod Tidwell the Kirk Cousins of wide receivers in the 90s?
I know it's
the bright lights are on. He's just like, you can't turn it on.
It's really, I can't think of a receive. You know what I mean? That narrative is for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is a receiver where it was like, yeah, he always sucks in the bright lights.
But he gets flipped over, nasty hit, gets knocked unconscious, fully knocked the fuck out. And then Jerry, it's a sports movie. This is like where you got to suspend your disbelief. The agent of the player runs onto the field.
Would never happen.
And then he comes back to by just like, you know, what the concussion protocol was in the 90s, where you just clap in somebody's face a bunch. And then
Wake up.
There's no stretcher or anything.
It's what they did to Joe Biden before the debate.
This is why Antonio Brown is insane right now, is what's happening right here. He gets like fully concussed, is like losing his mind, and then he just like gets up and starts like dancing around and like pulling the camera in his face, and nobody's alarmed in any way about his behavior whatsoever. I know
He's like climbing into the stands.
Pre-Will Smith concussion world, but yeah, he's just like running away.
But it's so good.
It rocks though.
You know, you're sitting there watching and you're like, this is what movies are all about.
Yeah. And then afterward, like, you know, when him and Jerry
he gets home in like 45 minutes from Phoenix, Arizona to Manhattan Beach. I did do the math. I won't spell it all out right now, but
how long it would take.
Yeah. So the game ends Monday Night Football. Game ends at like 11:30 Eastern, like 8:30 Pacific time. He can then race to the airport, whatever. Phoenix to LA is about an hour and a half flight. He then has to drive from LAX to Manhattan Beach, because it's established earlier that Laura lives in Manhattan Beach. The divorced women's group is still meeting. So like, even if he gets
1 in
there
the morning
and there's immediately a plane that he can get on, it is like minimum 1 in the morning, if not like 3 to 4 a.m. that these women are just sitting there drinking their wine and just talking about
and another
dirty men.
Do you think this
on a Monday night? It's not even like it's a weekend. This is a Monday night.
Do you think
this work in the morning?
Does the divorced women's group meet on the same night every week, or is it kind of like a sporadic thing? It might be like an ad hoc thing where like they just summon. This is before smartphones, so
it's like they page
there's
out
no
everybody.
Like do they know they have to show up at a certain time? Because I wonder that if they are yapping until 2 a.m., maybe it's because they haven't seen each other in like a month, you know?
I get the feeling that they meet pretty regularly. They do all
have nothing else going on.
They do at least Tom does, just walks right into the house. Never gonna knock the door or anything. My guy just opens up a door and just walks inside and says, "Where's Dorothy?" at like 2 or 3 different points in the movie.
Doesn't he say hello?
Just gotta know like why nobody locks their goddamn doors in these neighborhoods. And then, of course, we get the "You complete me." Shut up. You had me at hello.
Classic.
Banger.
In the intro of our series.
Yeah. And then finally, Rod gets 4 years for 11.2 mil.
Actually,
still underpaid, but
this is the only movie where I put 2 quotes in the intro. I put that one and "Help Me Help You." No other movie. I was like,
why didn't you put "I'm Mr. Black People"?
I love your son.
Why didn't you put "I did not shoplift the pootie"?
I did not shoplift the pootie from a single mother. Okay, I shoplifted the pootie.
Oh man.
This is see the enduring memories of me from this movie are all just Cuba and Tom. Like those are the only scenes those are the scenes that matter to me. It's just an iconic buddy movie of 2 guys who are like not even really friends for half of it.
Well, the hug that they have after the game, I think is one of the best moments in the movie.
It's so
like
good.
I kind of got a little choked up there when they embrace in front of all the cameras, because that, to me, that's the "you complete me" moment.
Yeah.
That's the real "you complete me" moment of the movie.
So I do wonder, like, so Tom, I just have some logistical questions here on, like, and maybe this is getting into the categories of like the next day, what's going on here. But so Jerry sees Rod almost die, and then he's just like, well, Rod loves his family. Maybe I should also love my family. Like, I don't really understand the logical connection. As great as it's like great little moments, I don't think that, like, what is happening in this sequence that is making fucking Jerry Maguire be like, you know what? Actually, I do love Dorothy, and we're gonna make it work.
He can't do what he wants, which is fucking kiss Rod. It's
So
all
he's gonna smooch lip Nikki a little bit.
it's misplaced. You know what I mean? Erotic energy. He has to put it somewhere.
Right. I think that, this movie plays out over the course of, I don't know, maybe a year. The events of this movie, roughly.
Yeah. Well, so we see the NFL draft, which is typically in like April, slightly before that. So like maybe like March, April, and then we get to the end of the season. So we're in like December, January-ish or
so maybe 8 months.
Most of a year.
Yeah. So I feel like, if they're newly married, they're trying to start this company. He is feeling a lot of conflicting emotions in terms of his amount of love and attraction and dedication to not just her, but the kid too.
He's been in like a really crazy headspace for the whole movie.
He's traveling a lot.
Yeah, he's just been absolutely scrambling to keep his life together. And I think that maybe that's what it is. I think maybe he sort of like he sees the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of his career being back on track. And he's like, wait a minute, I didn't just need her. I actually like her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that he doesn't need her anymore, now that he's like gonna get fucking paid. That's the charitable read on it. You know what I mean? If you want to give the movie credit, is he's like, oh, maybe I do vibe with her.
Or does he see that Lipnicki's got a fucking cannon for an arm, and he's just like, I can profit off.
We got to
this
lock in.
kid. I do hate that moment. It's a little thing. Yeah, I think
the very
I think
last
it's
scene.
stupid. I think it's dumb.
Where do
It's
you
just
end the movie then?
Where do I end the movie?
If you take out that scene, you still have that scene, but he just doesn't throw the ball.
He throws it better, maybe. It's a bad throw.
He just like slugs it, and we're going to assume that he throws it to like deep left field over the fence.
They're like, oh, there, slugger.
400 feet.
I'm always very self-conscious about like returning a ball to some players, because like they're gonna judge me that I'm not on their level.
They're like, hey kid, pass it over here, and you're like,
yeah,
no thanks. And then just keep
you
walking.
do like it's like before Ernest throws it back, he has to think about his whole life. And
you're
just
like, nah,
pause.
I don't got any cash, and then just keep walking.
Yeah. Sorry, brother.
This is why it's great to have a dog with you that you're walking, because you're just like, sorry,
My hands are full. I have to keep
he's
both
dragging
arms
me the
on
other way.
Yeah, you're pretending you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I always, every time I take Moo to the park and there's guys playing soccer, I'm always freaking out that they're gonna need me to like do a bicycle kick into the goal.
Get in here, get the header, and you're like, no.
can't walk that way.
What
I
if
gotta go
Moo's like
both.
an Airbud in disguise?
No, dude. He can barely breathe.
Mhm.
He's not
He doesn't
gonna
have the
make it.
cardio for. Well, maybe for like a short burst sport, he can
Right.
do.
Right.
But soccer, no. There's no way he has the
Yeah.
cardio for that.
He's like the guy in the Celtics that scored the.
Yeah, he's like
the
the
half
Peyton
court.
Pritchard. Yeah, you just bring him in there to
That's
just
the move.
fucking. He's the Airbud of Peyton Pritchard of Airbuds. You just bring him in there for like 2 plays a half.
Have you locked into the Euros and Copa?
A little bit. Copa, I watched the Panama game and I was like so disgusted that I was just like, no, this team is going fucking nowhere.
Hey,
I hope that they fire
Colombia's
Greg
looking
Berhalter.
good.
Yeah, happy for you. I think Uruguay's going to win it all, but
Uruguay, really?
yeah, Uruguay looks fucking great.
Oh,
I love
okay.
Uruguay. That's my pick. I just want Berhalter to get fired. I don't know if that will make any kind of a difference, but U.S. soccer has been so uninspiring for the last like 6 years that
Yeah.
they just need.
There's always a moment when
There's
you
a
feel like they're good, and then it's just
a lot of
trash.
people think that they could get Jurgen Klopp or Pep from Man City, which would be fucking sick to at least just have like an adult leading the room. It's not like they can't afford to fucking pay somebody. So
Euros has been good.
Euros has been
the other
very
day. It was Turkey versus Austria. Incredible game. Like
Oh.
this never happens when in fucking soccer you have 90 minutes of full attack mode
that's great.
where they're just
Love to see
going for it till the last second. Oh my god, it was just riveting. All right.
that. Should we redo Jerry Maguire, but he's like a soccer agent?
Yeah, he's like a European guy.
Yeah. We should do Jerry Maguire, but he's like trying to convince like little leaguers to like not play running back in the NFL. Instead, like they should go in
Yeah.
the U.S. soccer program.
He beats the shit out of Ted Lasso.
Yeah. Yeah, Jerry Maguire just like starts kicking Ted Lasso.
All right, categories. First category is Run Pee, brought to you by Run Pee, the app that tells you when to go pee during your movie. In when do you go pee in Jerry Maguire? Thanks to Run Pee for sponsoring this episode.
So it can't be too early. Do you go and pee when Dorothy is going to like move, but not really, and then they stay together and he like proposes
That's like
in the
almost.
driveway?
Is that the
There's
middle?
still like 30 minutes left in the movie, which is generally about the time that I have to go run and pee. I'm like, I cannot hold it anymore.
I was thinking the scene right after they have sex, like pretty much right when they make fun of the jazz. And you miss that nice like morning after thing where he's like listening in on the conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe you catch some of it while you're walking out.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not a ton. I honestly like. It's almost the point of it, but like their wedding sucks. But that's because it's a bad wedding because
Right.
they shouldn't be happening. But I would be fine if I went to go pee during that wedding and then like I came back and I was like, "What happened?" And you just said,
It was the
"Oh,
wedding."
they got married." Like
Yeah.
They got
that's
married.
all you.
Jerry looked really miserable
Yeah,
the
that's-
entire time.
Yeah,
That is a great shot. The VHS
yeah, I'm
clip.
just like, oh, fuck. I think if there was like a single one of my wedding photos where I just looked like 30% that way, then
Mhm.
Guy would have just like asked for a divorce.
We're just like,
It's so bad. Like his it's just like, oh god,
Come
he's
on, buddy.
not feeling it.
the
He's
camera's
feeling it.
right next
Yeah.
to you. At least pretend.
And he's like, haha, Rod, now you're singing. Let's talk about this guy.
Next category is Tom swap. We kind of already covered it earlier. Could the other Tom do this role? I think he definitely could. I think the movie wouldn't be as good.
Maybe he could. I think the movie's different and much worse.
Agree?
I would say significantly worse.
I think it'd be worse. I really don't think it would be like. I think the movie would like still be a big hit.
A hit, sure, but would it be a all-time classic? I don't
know.
think it's a 5-star movie. I think right now it is a 5-star.
Yeah, no, probably not. But it would still like, you know, we can't underestimate the power that Tom Hanks had back then. Like it would do gangbusters, and it would, you know what I mean? Like it would do very well. And there's like, this movie has quite an infrastructure around it. Like it's a good movie, period. That said, it's got to have Cruise in it. Like it has to have Cruise in it. So
If it's Hanks, do you also get rid of Renée Zellweger?
Put Meg Ryan there.
Well, some of the other people in the mix were Patty Arquette, Kate Beckinsale, Bridget Fonda, Winona Ryder, Marissa Tomei, Cameron Diaz, Uma Thurman, J-Lo.
So
J-Lo and Hanks.
no, I think people like J-Lo, even Marissa Tomei, I think are like, you need somebody who's a little bit more passive in that role. And I think that both of them have like, they kind of would, I feel like they might steamroll Tommy a little bit there. Like, just kind of with the way that they're written. I would honestly rather have both of them in the Avery role than in the Dorothy role.
Well, I mean, you also
Patty
have
Arquette,
to,
I like. Patty Arquette, I could see.
You also have to think about Limp Nikki. Like Ray, I buy Renee as Dorothy as Ray's mom, like completely. Like that duo together. Maybe she should have been a little bit more freaked out in the airport when he goes missing for a second. She's kind of not trying hard enough to find him. She's just kind of standing
but then
there.
You see Lip Nikki just riding the conveyor belt
That's
around,
great.
which is great. I did want to say, so Jerry's 35, right?
Yeah, his life's just started.
Yeah, and Dorothy is 26, she said.
Oh,
she
God.
says, I'm the oldest 26-year-old in the world.
Oh, no, Jerry, what have you done?
I just connected those dots right now.
It's a 9-year gap. That's tough.
That's a little bit tough. It's not quite Leo territory, now dating a new 19-year-old, but it's not great.
That was, that was how shit went. I'm going to say it.
Back in the day.
Yeah, even in the 90s.
Do you think that you missed your peak?
Jerry Seinfeld dated like a fucking child and like no one gave a shit.
Used to be.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be. Now we can't talk about it, but he used to be. Now you got burnt down.
You can make a movie about Pop-Tarts.
We were naive.
Next category.
Do you ever think that we're like a snake eating its own tail? We're like imploding as a podcast.
What else are we going to do?
I don't know.
The United States is
falling
about
apart.
to fucking fall into a
Guys,
chasm.
let's just be happy that we aged out of drafting age, so now we're good.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. Is it 25?
Fuck yeah.
Let's fucking go, dude.
Where are we going? To China?
What? I don't want to go to China.
No, not us. Like America.
The greater America.
The troops.
I mean, listen, right for the picking.
Did you hear they're recruiting on like TikTok and Twitch? They got like big titty recruiters. I'm serious. The army has like Twitch.
Big titty. They're like sponsoring on Pornhub now. They're like, guys, stop wanking it and stop jorking your peanuts and start jorking some peas nuts.
Next category is what is your favorite scene?
What? Favorite scene
in Jerry Maguire?
Is it can you like combine him and Bob Sugar calling up all of the athletes trying to save them and also the quitting?
Yeah, I think so.
Because that whole sequence is like about as iconic as it gets.
I think my favorite scene is Rod waking up on the field.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
love it.
I think the best scene is the phone calls. My favorite scene is fine. The locker room.
The like freak out that he's having.
Help you.
Yeah. It's so good.
Also, I mean, I actually have an affinity for drunk Tom acting. I don't think he's ever had a sip of alcohol in his life, but like I love between A Few Good Men and then this of just like it doesn't really make sense the way that he's fully behaving as like a drunk actor, but him showing up there and just like fucking chilling with Lip Nikki, like going on this whole thing. It is actually good drunk acting where Lip Nikki's just like, I think this thing. He's like, yeah, we're talking about me now, though. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's a great Tom moment. That's probably my favorite like single Tom moment of the entire movie.
Most iconic moment. I think this is one of the few movies in our series that has like multiple just unquestionable iconic moments. Usually you can kind of point at one, or sometimes we kind of struggle to come up with one. I think there's a case for like three. I mean, all the quotes,
the Rod Tidwell introduction, You Complete Me, like all that shit.
There's just something about this movie. It is it is just crystallized in movie history with these little bits, these little moments. I would probably go with I was about to say You Complete Me, but
you don't get Rod in that moment is the problem. And like, you kind of need Rod. I think
but Show Me the Money is so good.
Show me the money. Show me the money. I think his affectation in that scene is something, because people are just like, show me the money. Yeah, but it's not just that. It's the way that he is screaming it.
Yeah.
And like, it feels unnatural as he is saying it.
Either one of those. I don't know if I could pick one. They're both iconic to me.
I give it Show Me the Money.
What do you think, Drew?
I love black people.
Probably, I don't know. Probably if you ask the average person, they'd say You Complete Me. You have
Yeah.
Shut up.
I think
You had
so.
me at hello.
Yeah.
Next category is Fellas WYD. What would you do?
Are we Bob Sugar? Who are we? Are we Lip Nicky?
Well, what would you do if you were a big shot at the sports business
And I
and
grew
you got
at confidence?
fired? Like, to be real, there is no way that you exit this job and can
Go back
offload
in and just call up all of your people.
successfully, jumpstart a new business the way that he does it.
There's also like, they don't let you back in the building. They fire you in a public place and they're like, we've already gotten security.
Oh, right.
Here you go.
You're gone.
They're just going to let you come back in and be like, oh, can I have the list of all of my clients? Like, you're fired. You're fired. That's it.
It's crazy. I would not pursue a career in the same. I would do something completely different. I would go fly planes or join the Impossible Mission Force.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. I couldn't be a sports agent. Are you kidding me? Well, because then eventually, like, I'd have to take over as general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers, and I don't think I could handle all that. I don't know. It's hard to insert myself in this world. Now, if I was Renée Zellweger, if I was Dorothy, one, I would just simply not follow this man because it's the working
You have
like
a child.
crazed lunatic. I don't care how hot he is. I'm just still not
And
going
he
to
wrote
follow
that manifesto.
But if I'm going to follow him,
it was a, what did he say? A mission statement?
a mission statement. It's not a memo. It's not a manifesto. It's a mission statement.
Yeah, don't follow that man. What do you think, Drew? What would you do?
Who am I?
If I'm Bob Sugar, I don't give a shit about Jerry Maguire. Like, Jerry Maguire is like such small potatoes at this point that like maybe I'm like, haha, Jerry, whatever. But like, he has Cushman, who's about to like be the new face of the NFL.
If I'm Kush, I'm going to Denver. I'm going to sit behind Elway for a few years and really, go.
You've only got to sit for like 2 years. Maybe you take the Rodgers trajectory.
Yeah, I'm going Rodgers style. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, exactly. You follow his trajectory exactly. You
If
like,
I'm-
don't believe you believe that people should do their own research and
Totally. If I'm Kush's dad, I'm absolutely firing Jerry Maguire. Yeah.
I don't care that it's like, well, I was just waiting to see if you'd show up in my living room. That was the only way that I was going to decide who's going to be my agent. You're a terrible dad
Mhm.
at that point. Now, I am curious, which I don't know if this leads into the next category or not, but how long do Jerry and Dorothy make it?
Ooh.
Because I'm going to say like 2 years max.
I think the kid keeps them together. He loves being a stepdad.
Here's the thing. Okay. Lipnicky's not going to stay a cute little boy forever.
So
Eventually,
teenage years, Jerry's
It's
out.
going to get fucking rough. Those road trips are going to take longer and longer.
Yeah, I don't know. How many more players do they sign? Like, how much does this business grow? Is it just Rod?
They have to have more than just Rob.
Nah, he got the shout out on HBO on the show he was on or whatever.
He shook some hands backstage.
Yeah, everyone's like, I need Jerry in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had that moment with Bob Sugar and was it Troy Aikman? In that moment,
Yeah.
where he's just like, "Why don't we have that kind of relationship?"
Yeah. That was funny.
That's a good.
He tries to
Troy
hug him.
Aikman's funny. He's like the only cameo is good. They tried to make Drew Bledsoe act at one point. It's just like, sorry, Rod, I just signed my big deal. And it's like, all right, get the fuck off the camera, Drew. Okay.
A lot of athletes, it's just not there.
Yeah, they don't got it. It really makes like what Charles Barkley and people like
I know
that
it's
special.
If anyone hasn't looked this up or watched this before, there's one of the NBA 2K games. They made actual players like read lines and like play themselves, and it is. I think it's like pound for pound one of the funniest videos you'll ever see on YouTube. It's just like it's Eric Bledsoe just being like, "Damn, player, you really kicked my ass on that one."
It's so good. It's like 2K13 or something like that, or 14.
Yeah,
it's the same one where they somehow got Bill Simmons to be like a guest voice for Boston Celtics games. So he's playing and be like, this actually just reminds me exactly of like when Russell would be in here in 1967. And people, and you can tell like
this
in
is
the
like
studio
during
that they're like,
while you're playing.
yeah, that they're just like, you like had a dunk in there. It's like, man, that's just like Bird to McHale right there. And like, it's one of those things where he's making references and it's like fun because he's like doing the Simmons thing. It's fun and cool and whatever. He's in there for like a quarter of the game that you're playing. But also, you know that like the 2K crew was just like, we can't bring this guy back here. He's referencing shit from like 40 years ago. Kids don't know who the fuck these people are that he's talking about right now.
Yeah. He's saying that your my player is in his apex mountain.
He's talking about Michelle Pfeiffer a lot.
Here's the thing about the truth.
Would this tea be better if Sydney Sweeney was on it?
Oh man. Next category is what are we scoring this on the Cruise scale, on the Tom scale out of 5. Now, because this is Cruise, we hadn't had a Cruise in a minute. We had a stretch of Hanks. We have to take into account the hair, the brow, the teeth, and the running.
Does he? Yes, he does run. Oh, this
great
is
run.
This is a 5. I think this is the best hair.
Auto 5.
I think this is the best hair. I think this is
it's
also
slicked back.
It's slicked back, but also sometimes it's falling forward in his face a little bit. Like you're getting both elements of the Cruise hair. You get some good running. I think his teeth look really good in this movie.
I think we're set on the teeth from now on. Like the veneers are in.
They've been more centered. They're not going to be like spot on ever at any point, but like they're as good as they are going to get.
Brow on point.
Brow's looking good. And I also think like this is the quintessential Tom Cruise performance. Like this is a 5 Cruise out of 5.
Yeah.
5.
I also wanted to remark upon the poster, which is just a side profile of Tom Cruise.
Is it a good poster?
I don't know.
I think it's kind of a bad poster.
I wouldn't say it's bad.
It's so iconic.
It's iconic, but like, what does it say about anything? Like, I don't know what that poster means.
He's looking down. He's smiling.
For years, like whenever I was a little tot, a twat, if you would, I didn't know what this movie was.
I know you almost like
me.
If you look at this, you almost think this is like a guy who's going to die in the movie.
It's giving Michael. This is like his Michael.
But like, what's the alternative? Realistically, it could be better, but also it could just be Tom in the middle, and then Renee and Lipnicki holding one hand, and then fucking Rod and Regina holding the other, and he's like, what do I do?
The thing is that I'm looking on Letterboxd right now because I want to see what the alternate posters are, and all these posters suck. They're all bad. There's a lot of them are like him and Renee like holding each other's faces, which that's bad. There's tough. This one that's Jerry Maguire with just like a bunch of footballs and cash behind him that looks like an AI generated poster for Jerry Maguire.
That looks like shit.
That looks like
even
ass.
the show me the money, like him screaming, sitting at the desk.
What do you think about that one? Is that doing anything for you? It's not great.
No,
I don't
these
prefer
are good.
that.
I like the original poster just because it's like a choice. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird choice.
He's like wearing all white. He does look angelic, though,
and I think
this weird way.
There are a lot of posters of Tom Cruise's face, and even like the Mission Impossible poster is also him facing the same way, like the profile. They kind of reuse this approach a lot, but there's just something about the smile and the angle of the head down. It's just Jerry. I'm just looking at Jerry. It's just a nice vibe. I don't know. It's a little indescribable.
Hey, should I buy this T-shirt?
It's a Jerry Maguire T-shirt with the Nicky and sports
what the
ball.
fuck is wrong with his mouth?
We have a hockey puck.
He looks.
This is really, really fucked up.
What is that a Redbubble shirt? What is that you're on right now?
It's on some guy's like personal website.
Oh no.
JoeCappa.com.
I also wanted to shout out the Jerry Maguire Pyramid Project, which is a collection of 15,000 VHS tapes of the movie Jerry Maguire that were assembled and collected into the shape of a pyramid. So
that is
fucking dope.
Actually,
that's fucking
honestly,
sick.
one of the lasting legacies of this movie is its reputation. You know, for a while it was called like the best-selling VHS ever. It's really for a period it was the best-selling non-Disney VHS of ever. Its first, hold on, I had it pulled up, but I think its first week out on VHS, it sold $80 million.
Wow,
that's fucking nuts. And yeah, I do see that $80 million. And I need to make this like, I'm glad that you guys brought up physical media and not me on this podcast right now, because I want to make like a call to action to Sony. Sony, release this in 4K in America. What are we doing? Why does this not have a 4K remaster right now? Like, it's shot on film. There's no reason why we can't take this and put this on 4K. Even like the Blu-ray is like, okay, like there's easily like we can make a good 4K restoration of this, and Sony's just like sitting on their hands doing that.
Maybe it's Cameron Crowe. Maybe Crowe's just like unwilling to go back to it.
It could be. He's
working on Aloha
notoriously. Yeah, I bet that's really the big thing. Sony is notoriously really like odd with some of their because this is Sony TriStar, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They're like notoriously really weird with their own production stuff, because like a lot of times they will go through third parties to actually like do a lot of the production for their home releases and remastering and things like that. So I'm assuming it's more of that thing versus like a in-house, a Paramount, a Universal, whatever. But fucking get on it. Come on. This is like one of the best movies in the 90s.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
like,
what I was going to say. It's iconic.
It deserves it.
Yeah.
It got like a 4K remaster as part of like a giant box set, but it's basically just a Blu-ray rip.
Jerry Maguire was the fourth highest grossing movie of 1996, behind Independence Day.
Shine or Secrets and Lies.
Independence Day was number one. Twister and Mission Impossible were ahead of it. So
we used to be a country.
Cruise up there. It's crazy. Twister.
Let's fucking go, dude.
Made more money than Mission and Jerry.
Not just because I have it in our fantasy film league, but I'm getting so all in on Twister. Maybe it's because I've seen the trailer approximately, 37 times before every movie that I've gone to see for the last 3 months. But like, I'm all in on Twisters.
Final category: recaging and re-Robin Couch. Where are Robin Williams and Nick Cage in this movie? Nick Cage, easy. He's one of the sports agents. Like,
could Nick Cage play Bob Sugar?
You could easily have him in there. Sugar, maybe.
Like, Kush, you gotta stay with me. I'm Bob Sugar.
And Robin, is he? Maybe Robin is on set on the commercial shoot. Maybe he's like the director of the commercial that's upset that.
I feel like we've done re-Robining dirty in the series. We're like, hey, where can we just like stick Robin in the corner for like 15 seconds of fame?
Because he's too big. He takes over.
We watched too many bad Robin movies.
Like I was thinking about that earlier today, where I was just like, God, we're just like fuck you, Robin Williams.
You're so right.
After this, like, oh, what can we do that's just he has no involvement whatsoever?
I mean, what is he going to play? Jerry Maguire? It would suck.
Could he play Laurel? Could he actually play Chad? Could he be the jazz guy?
No, I like
could
that.
He play, because then
I prefer child technician.
Then he's like fully coming in here. He's in like four scenes.
Listen to this. Oh.
What's going on?
He's played so many guys that just have like one bit.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That is still being mean to Robin. I will say,
We're
because
still not giving him a
Miles
main
Davis,
character, but
Joy
Yeah.
of business.
what?
Yeah,
I mean,
we could-
what is he gonna?
we
There's
can
only
confidently say Robin is better than Todd Luiso.
I mean, to be in this movie's defense, at least, there's like 3.5 characters in this movie. There's Jerry, there's Rod, there's Dorothy, and then there's Ray. There's little Ray.
He could be
and that's
Ray.
it. He could be playing fucking Jack.
Yeah.
Dorothy's like, hey, I'm 26 years
My
old.
son.
I have a son who's 64.
There's just this one thing
I'll
about my
quit
son.
job.
And then he comes,
Follow
he sees
It's
him on the luggage
literally
carousel.
the worst fucking movie.
Rob's like, oh, cowabunga.
Oh, take me to the zoo.
Jeez. What if he's the guy at the Kinko's when he's printing the
He's doing 1 hour photo. Just
I know where you live, Jerry.
Hey,
I
Jerry,
love your writing.
Any more pictures of you and your girlfriend?
This guy in the credits, he's credited as Jesus of Copy Matt.
Cool.
So I guess because the long hair, played by a guy named Jerry Cantrell. Oh, Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains.
wait. Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Is that Alice?
Yeah, he's in Chains.
Oh, those are his chains.
It's him.
Wow.
Well, Toby Huss is in this movie?
Wait, fucking what?
Who's Steve Remo? Oh, he must be. Is that at the beginning?
Steve Remo. Is he one of the agents? Is he like the boss agent?
I think this
Is he the hockey player?
I think no, this is the
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
guy who's in the. Yeah, he's the hockey player who's
With
like
Drake Bell.
got his 4th concussion in a year.
Wow.
yeah, he's Drake Bell's dad.
Toby
is
Huss is
Toby
just
Huss.
all over good shit. You
Man,
know,
Toby Hauser rules.
you just find him near good things.
Let's play games.
All right. We did it. Any final thoughts? on
Yeah,
Jerry
I
Maguire?
I couldn't think of a good Run P joke for this one. We're gonna have to wait till next week. You know,
Something about concussion protocol.
the problem is I've set such a high standard with these that I don't want to disappoint the sponsor.
Yeah.
So we'll splice
Well,
it
It's
in.
you know, and I think that really is the true sign to the quality of the movie.
Mhm.
That like you don't pee in this movie.
Like I was
Sorry,
don't run.
I was thinking like, oh, Run P for when you're trying to watch this Jerry Maguire, but your rod ain't quite tidden well. I don't know. I don't know.
That's there's gotta be something else.
No.
Oh no, that's not it.
One of the better movies we'll cover
Yeah.
in this series, if not the best.
Can't wait
It's-
to do the Jeffrey Rush series, so we can talk
I
about
don't-
Shine and how that's very much deserved to beat Cruise in this.
I don't know if I'm quite on 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 land. I'm like almost there. I'm like
You're
9.
like a 4.75.
I'm like 9.5.
That,
I'm so
That's-
this watch, I could feel myself like budging against a couple things, but there
I
is
think-
do there.
Here's the thing. I think it gets better and better with every rewatch because
It
it's
goes down
so
easy.
deeply rewatchable.
It is.
Especially it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It does not feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
It's
at
an
all.
incredible hang. Everyone in the movie, I think, is just at their absolute best. Like, this is my favorite Tom. This is obviously, this is as good as Cuba's gonna get. Until maybe OJ, if you love that.
he's so good in
He is
that.
good.
It's my
OJ.
favorite
Yeah.
Renee. Like, going down the line, this is my favorite Cameron Crowe, but I haven't seen Almost Famous. I think that you're just in for a great time every time. It really, truly, in the past like year or two, has become one of my like 10 or 15 favorite movies ever.
Yeah,
Just because it's so
it's a vibe.
yeah, and it makes me yearn for the days when this was a viable movie.
I know. That's the thing. I feel like more than anything, because the Wikipedia says that this movie's has a cult following. I think that's bullshit.
That's so funny.
This was the
A cult
4th highest
following?
grossing movie.
cult classic
of
Jerry
Night
Maguire.
We gotta fucking get rid of that phrase of what's a cult classic, because there's already people who are just like trying to claim like, oh, the Fall Guy, it's already become like a cult
No.
classic. It's like, one, it's existed for 2 months, and 2, it's still making like $90 million. It's not a fucking cult classic.
But
Like,
but I do feel like there is this nostalgia attached to this movie that not to say that we are grading it on a curve or anything like that, but we, as time goes by, appreciate it so much more and hold onto it tighter because movies like this just do not happen. $50 million budget rom-coms with movie stars, like the best we can do is Anyone But You. That dog shit, like, are you fucking kidding me? We need another Jerry Maguire. Glenn?
Mhm.
Glenn? You look at me, Glenn.
Glenn.
Jerry Maguire 2. Let's run it back.
It's about like
Jerry Maguire
pickleball or whatever. You know, make it new, make it hip.
It's trying to find like the best esport group.
Yes.
He could do it. I have faith.
Yeah.
He's on the right track.
Yeah, it's starring Ninja and Glenn Howard.
I'm gonna kill myself.
That's horrible.
And then like Addison Rae.
Jeez.
I'm gonna wipe myself.
The soccer idea was good. Like, take it international. It's like Mbappe. You know?
Well, you can't actually have real athletes in it.
No,
thing.
like an
he's-
Mbappe surrogate type character.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Make it happen. Come on. It's probably not Cameron Crowe. We can leave him out of it.
No, it's definitely not Cameron Crowe. Are you kidding me? He is so washed.
2024 Cameron Crowe.
We are covering another Cameron Crowe movie on this series.
by your
Vanilla
push.
Sky.
Mhm.
A movie also starring Tom
reunion.
Cruise that I think I've seen it once. Didn't care for it. We'll see if it's grown in my estimation on a rewatch.
We'll see. All right. I think we can wrap it up there. Go ahead. Go ahead. You got it?
It's hold on. Oh, it's close. Run P, who
You lost it.
when you're trying to enjoy Kelly Preston, but you feel your belly pressed in.
I don't even want to be around anymore.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Run P.
That's literally what
Did you blow it?
happens.
How many?
Yeah, you feel your belly pressed
You
in.
do for your belly Preston.
That's funny.
Did you blow it before we have like another Kelly Preston movie that's coming up in the series? I actually don't know.
That's true.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe, like, and comment. It helps a lot. Let us know your thoughts about Jerry Maguire, and check out weboughtamic.net to get every episode in your email inbox. Join us at patreon.com/weboughtamic. Thanks to all the donors who make this podcast possible. Next week, we are doing the best pop culture releases of 2024 so far with
Best rap beefs,
our mid-year draft.
best presidential
The debate,
election debates.
that's number one draft pick. Absolutely. Yeah.
That made us all feel really inspired and happy.
With a special guest returning, talking all the favorite stuff that's come out so far. I might do a little binging of some stuff because I've fallen behind. You know, maybe I'll try to catch A Quiet Place.
I mean,
day one.
If you've fallen behind, then I'm long gone.
I need
brother.
you to like come up with like 10 things at least.
Despicable Me 4 is not eligible, by the way.
Fuck, what?
It's before July 1st.
Damn it.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not watching that.
So stick around for that. And then back to our Tom v. Tom series with Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. The one that started it all.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.